G'day everybody, where's Wally here? Well, today I'm going to have a look at Nathan Oakley, because the other day when he was on Bob the Science Guy and when he was on Sciman Dan,
amazing,
Nathan said some very interesting things. Yeah, have a listen.
We are all in agreement, Jazz. Yes, there is a pressure gradient.
Now, to all the flatties who often say, well, you can't have an atmospheric pressure right beside a sky vacuum, you do know that your thought leader, Nathan Oakley, has now stated irrevocably that there is a pressure gradient in the atmosphere.
We are all in agreement, Jazz. Yes, there is a pressure gradient.
Now, Nathan, that admission has set a precedent for you and all your friends.
Okay, Nathan admitting that there is a pressure gradient in the atmosphere is a key admission on his part.
So as soon as Nathan accepted atmospheric pressure gradient, then you accepted that the upper limit has to be 0, or 1 by 10 to the minus 17 TORR. Unless, Nathan, you can come up with some magic, some reason that the gradient stops before reaching 0. And we're going to want to know all about that, because we know, Nathan, one thing about you is you don't like to make claims because then you're held to account. And Nathan, when I showed your claim to Wolfie, he said exactly the same thing as Bob the Science Guy. How far and why?
At what point does it stop going down before it reaches 0? And why does it stop going down?
Now I want to ask you, Nathan, why does the gradient stop before reaching 0?
So you're saying there's less air up high. Well, yes, that's true. We agreed to that. But that doesn't mean that it dissipates to 0. That would violate natural law. Because if it was 0, that would mean it was just an empty void for the gas to fill.
And just how far up is that, where it stops?
It's not a sky vacuum called outer space, the most powerful vacuum known to man, according to the religion of sky vacuums and spheres in them. It's not just nothing, it's 10 to the minus 17 TORR vacuum, according to your religion.
Nathan, are you seriously saying that vacuum of space is less than nothing?
It's not just nothing, it's 10 to the minus 17 TORR vacuum.
You do know that 1 by 10 to the negative 17 TORR is not less than nothing, Nathan. Exactly greater than nothing, by a little tiny bit. And Nathan, see on this graph, that yellow zone down the bottom, what would you call that zone where pressures aren't allowed to go below 0?
That's a violation of natural law.
Correct, mate.
It's not just nothing, it's 10 to the minus 17 TORR vacuum.
Well, Nathan, you're being held to account. You must now provide why does the pressure gradient stop before getting to 0, at what height, and how do you know this? And none of this BS about violating natural law, because natural law says it's going to go to 0, mate.
It's not just nothing, it's 10 to the minus 17 TORR vacuum.
And I just love it when flatties talk about the vacuum of space sucking the atmosphere off the planet. Do they not realise that the Earth and all the other big planets are really just like giant space Roombas? They are the things that do all the sucking. I mean, a planet is defined by its ability to clean its orbit, which means it sucks up all the bits and pieces that are in its orbit. And then please explain to me why, when something falls off the ISS, it always ends up falling to Earth.
It's not just nothing, it's 10 to the minus 17 TORR vacuum.
So if you're wondering why Nathan Oakley goes to all this bother to stop everyone thinking that there's a gradient, this is why.
So the sky is not a vacuum, outer space is fake. And therefore all claims of any travel or photographs from that region or through that region are automatically deemed void. Lies, fake, fraud, scam, sham, not real. Nothing that's occurred in space, or is claimed to have occurred in space, has ever actually occurred.
Because now, Nathan, none of these things are out of play anymore. These are all valid, so you're going to have to put up with a lot more questions about the ISS in particular, mate. You really shouldn't have said that there is actually an atmospheric pressure gradient, should you, Nathan?
It's not just nothing, it's 10 to the minus 17 TORR vacuum.
What I'd like to know is, if the Earth's flat, how does that pressure gradient automatically change a pressure at sea level to nothing at height?
And finally, Jazzaconda, I salute you, mate. You did a great job of making Nathan put some facts in his mouth. And as if all of that doesn't hurt Nathan enough, just watching the Crew Dragon back away from the ISS this evening, I saw this. What do you think of this, Nathan? Handtails are going to inertia. So what's going on? Can you tell us, Nathan?